I'm also the Assistant CEO for Oglala Sioux Housing. I'll offer our traditional prayer in our language. I'll pray for the gathering here, that hopefully some enlightenment comes and awareness comes from this display. And then also I would like to pray for the tragic accident in Boston, for the people who are injured there. And also I would like to pray for the group here as a whole, so that we may receive help and good health. And then also I would like to pray for people that are have health issues and are struggling in this life right now, and for the children of all of our people. And so in this way I'll pray with my traditional language. And so you'll bear with me whenever I use our language.
Thank you, Doyle. At our gatherings, we pray for those who are less fortunate, who need our help, our prayers. Doyle, not being the political person that I am, I would have included a couple lines in there to pray that the Congress will have an open heart and an open mind and look at our issues in a very sincere way. But I guess I just added it. So next we're going to have a few words from our housing director, Mr. Paul Ironcloud. Paul?
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to greet you all with a warm handshake. Today is a very special day for the Oglala Sioux Tribe and Housing Authority. I was just here last week to testify in Congress the need for housing. And I thought, everybody reads from a piece of paper, saying big words and all this stuff. But I spoke from my heart. And I told them what I thought and what the need was. And, coming here wasn't an easy task. I have a good staff, one thing I could say. And, they drove down here since Saturday, got here night before last. And I asked Virgil, our maintenance superintendent, well, how was the trip? He said, we're worn out. We got to lay down and sleep for a while, so, and I really appreciate them. But, what we wanted to show Congress was the need for Indian housing. Them not coming to see the need that's out there, we brought the house to them to look at and to see. And I was hoping that some of the congressional staff, or some of the staff, the congressional people would be here. Well, you know, it's going to be on the news tonight, and it's going to actually hear some of the things that we need so much. And housing is one of those big needs at Pine Ridge and all the Plain tribes. You know, we're 80% unemployed, and not to have a house to live in, where does that put you if you were one of them people? Every day somebody comes to my office wanting a home, sitting there with little kids. You know, that's very heartbroken when we have to do them things. So I thought maybe today we'd be able to say some of them words, how great the need is. You know, Oglala Sioux Housing Authority was the first Indian housing authority in the United States. And I think that, you know, it went down from public housing to Indian housing. And the great man that put that together was Johnson Holy Rock, who we got to honor before he passed on. And we built a new administration building and named that building from him, Johnson Holy Rock Housing Authority Building. So I guess, you know, I don't want to bore some of you guys, you know, that you probably read in the papers, but I want to say something. I talked to my wife here, well, probably an hour ago, and she said there was people putting, what do you call them, blogs or whatever in the paper about the trip here by the Oglala Sioux Tribe Housing Authority. And they were saying, oh dear, now we're going to have to pay more taxes to help them build homes. Well, people's got to remember, and I get mad every time I talk about it, there's treaties that were made with the tribes. 1868 treaty was made with tribes. And they never lived up to them treaties. Now they expect us to just survive on so much dollars every year. And every year our funding is going down. That makes me, I worry every night. You know, when you don't have a job, you don't have a home. I already said this, but that's what really sticks in my mind every day. So I wanted to show an example of a house that we had 13 people living in that house. Of course, it ain't that little, it's a little bigger than that, but we brought what we could. And I just want to thank the people that was here today to listen to a need that is so great in Indian country. You know, we have assessment that we're doing, a pilot assessment. And Congress gives us that same amount of money darn near every year without knowing that our population is growing. So this assessment, I feel that is going to help Congress actually see the numbers that will show the need. And I want to thank you again for listening to me, and may God bless each and every one of you, and you have a safe trip home. Thank you very much.
It's all over the Capitol and in the congressional offices. So I guess that's what all the traffic is about. As I said, you know, we've honored our part. Our young men and women have served in all our conflicts. They come home affected by those experiences, and they have young families. We can't provide those housing units for those honorable veterans. And so we need to be mindful of all of these things and tell our friends. And if you got Facebook or blogs or whatever, continue to tell folks. I know I don't look that old, but I'm a dinosaur when it comes to communication. I still pick up the rotary phone and call, and I got to get caught up myself. But if you could do that, I think it would be very, very important. Contact your congressional people. It's too bad that they weren't able to make it in the numbers that we had expected. But we have some other folks that want to say a few words, and I'll ask Sarah to come up from the Oglala Sioux Tribe Partnership for Housing. Sarah?
Thank you, Mike. Paul, appreciate all you do. I know you work hard and you're stressed every day. I've been in some of these homes and I've seen mattresses and blankets laying on the floor side by side that you can't hardly walk between. There's too many people in some of the houses, and that creates a lot of problems, a lot of problems. And those of us that go into those houses that aren't used to that, it's hard for us to look at it and think about all the ramifications of this tight-knit living. I know if I had to live that close to people, I would have a problem. All kinds of problems. It's hard to get along with each other when you're that close. It's hard to eat meals when you're that close. It's just, you need to listen to what these guys say. It's not just words they're using, it's the truth. There needs to be many, many, many houses built to lighten the load of the houses that are already there. Thank you, Mike. Y'all just keep up the work.
Thank you, Sarah. Sarah is one of our faith-based partners from Tennessee, and has donated a lot of her time as well as her husband to assist us in all of these matters. The next person I would like to introduce is from Senator Tim Johnson's staff, Sarah Crawford. Sarah?
Hi, I'm here representing Senator Tim Johnson. As you just saw, the entire Hart building is on lockdown, but I do want to express the Senator's deepest wishes to housing in Indian country, making sure that legislation is going to be passed. Right now, the Native American Housing and Self-Determination Act is up for reauthorization, and our office has been working really hard on making sure that that reauthorization happens. Senator Johnson is chairman of the Banking and Housing and Urban Development Committee, and he does have jurisdiction over the reauthorization bill. And so with his committee staff, the personal office, and as well as being on the Indian Affairs Committee that also has jurisdiction, we're all making sure that this bill is improved and also that gets reauthorized, hopefully later this year. But Senator Johnson sends his deepest regrets of not being able to make it out. He's still hoping to maybe possibly make it over here, but he wanted to make his well wishes to Paul and thank him for coming out last week on testifying, but as well as just making sure that Indian housing is addressed. Thank you.
As many of you know, Senator Johnson is not seeking re-election, and so we're going to have to hopefully find a very capable replacement for him. He's been our friend for many, many years and has helped when he could. And he will be sorely missed. We have another person to come and address you. He's one of our young tribal leaders. I can't say enough about the guy. He's my nephew, so Kevin, would you come up?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mike. Paul, I want to say a big thank you to you for taking the lead role you do in housing on our reservation. It is quite tough, you know, where I sit. My name is Kevin Yellowbird Steele. I am a tribal council representative from the Wounded Knee District. And it's really a tough thing, a job here that we have to look at. And it's something that our people at home right now are sitting in 2-3 foot of snow. And the weather is really cold back in South Dakota. And the need to keep a house like this warm, you know, with the high expensive electricity bills that people have to pay and the high price of propane. It really is a high cost to keep a house like this warm when we are badly in need of repairs. The conditions of these houses need to be updated and upgraded to deal with this kind of weather that we deal with in South Dakota. The weather here is beautiful. You know, we would like to ask for some of that snow a little this way, but I know a lot of you ain't gonna like it, you know. Everything would be on shutdown then. But it's something that we need to really look at, the seriousness, and I want to thank all those housing workers that really put the effort into bringing this house here to the nation's capital so that Congress and the people, the staffers, and everybody standing here today can see the conditions of the housing on the reservation. As a council representative, we have to put up with a lot of the needs of these housing needs, and we have to look at a better future for our people to put better housing in place. It's a need, a great need in council. The Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is really into helping, and we're looking forward to the things that we could do to make housing better. I'm one of the youngest ones on the council that make these trips to Washington and visit with Senator Tim Johnson. You know, we're up here quite a bit to come and address the needs of not just, you know, our housing needs, but of, you know, one thing that I'm always stressing is treaties. And treaties are one thing that need to really be considered within Congress. Because with the sequestration, a lot of this is going to be cutting our education, our health care, and also our housing is going to take the big hit. These are the kind of seriousness that we have to look forward in dealing with and to take that stand. And as a young council representative, I'm looking forward to making this a change for our people, that it's something that we can continue to do, make life better for our people back in South Dakota on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. It's really a tough job, I have to tell you guys this, and you know, to come out and really remind people of the treaties, the obligations, the funding that is so needs to be there and given to the Native American people across the nation as tribes. We all stand together unified with one voice saying the same thing, that we can't be forgotten. We always said, you know, America sends billions and billions of dollars overseas to help those third world countries when America should be looking in their own backyard. There's a lot of need right here in America, and that need is great. This is just one example here where they've traveled thousands of miles to bring this house so that we could show the people here in the nation's capital the great need for housing on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And with that, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. Thank Pinky, our housing authority, all of you who have gotten this house here, the workers, because this is one great deed that really needed to be done to make that statement to Congress that we do need that funding for housing, and the people do appreciate it. With that, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Kevin's learning the way of a politician. Usually his introduction is that long. He cut it short, so. You know, in tribal societies, regardless of where they're at on this continent, before you entered conflicts, you went to the women and the grandmothers, and you asked for their permission to sacrifice their sons and daughters in conflict. I think that should be a priority in this country, that we do that so we don't spend the few valuable resources left in this country on conflicts. You know, our first answer is always a military answer. You know, we're involved in the issue of gun control. They took ours away in 1890. They haven't given them back. We can't defend ourselves. When we have issues, we got to throw rocks, essentially, to get their attention. We're involved in many of the issues, immigration reform, yet we're not asked for our opinions or our stands, you know. We have to do something like this to do some drama to get attention. We contribute, we're full partners in this country, and yet we're ignored. So, housing is just the beginning. There are many, many other needs. And as Kevin alluded to, with the cuts coming, things are going to only get worse. So, I would like to ask the lady who raised the resources to make this journey possible and to say a few words. She is the executive director of the Oglala Sioux Partnership for Housing. It's one of the lasting Clinton initiatives in Indian country or anywhere in the country. And we've been able to build homes for approximately 70 to 100 clients. So if you're out there listening, Bill, give us a call. We're still going. We haven't seen you in a few years. So with that, I'd like to introduce Peaky Clifford, Emma Peaky Clifford.
Shout out to Indians.com, which you're watching. Thanks, guys.
Thank you all for coming. The Trail of Hope for Indian Housing 2013 comes to Washington, D.C. in a good way. It's something, you know, that we're not proud of, bringing one of our homes that looks like this. We have many, many more at home. We wish that we could have a tour where people could see new homes and happy families. But that isn't the story right now. Our small group of people, building on an idea that Paul worked on last spring, is here now. It's here today. And it was a very bold move on our part because Paul had said we will not use our traditional sources of funding. We will raise the money to come on this trip. And that is exactly what we did. With help from friends throughout the country, we were able to raise the resources to bring our staff and Paul and others to Washington, D.C. and set up a very humble, simple, but not exaggerated display of housing. We don't have to over-exaggerate conditions. And when you live at Pine Ridge, it doesn't take long, no matter where you go, to see the tremendous need and challenge that Paul and other entities working in housing face. We have many people who come to Pine Ridge to work on houses, the faith-based groups, the community-based groups, and everyone tries their best to do what they can, but it's never enough. We cannot do too much for Indian housing on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. That's a fact. You cannot do too much. The challenge is there, and we invite any of you to come visit. Let us give you a tour. Let us show you the need. We welcome you, and I thank you for coming today. Thank you.
Shout out to Indians.com. That's Indians with a Z.com. Check out their site.
You know, we, Lakota people, we like to tease and tell stories, make ourselves laugh. The Creator gave us that gift. And so we use it quite frequently. But Pinky's recruiting volunteers. She has a little organization called Little Sisters of the Peak. So if any of you want to join, she's the mother of the group. Okay? Much like Mother Teresa, Mother Pinky. You'll take guys too, huh? There you go. So anyway, we have another visitor who came to visit us. And I met him 4 years ago at a banquet here, and I'd like to ask Moises to come up, say hello.
Indians.com also has a nice article on the Trail of Hope for Indian housing. Check them out. Indians.com.
Thank you, Mike.
With a Z.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Moises Losa. I run a national organization here in town called the Housing Assistance Council. Our work takes us around the country supporting local organizations that do what Paul Ironclad, Pinky Clifford, and others are trying to do in their own communities. The interesting thing about this whole effort here is that I think the public generally has an idea about Indian reservations and what they're like, but they really don't know how bad the living conditions are. And the general public, as a rule, doesn't constantly think about Native American conditions. It's not in their mind. They have other things in their mind. So this effort to bring this house to show, in fact, visually what those conditions are makes an impact. And it's an important initiative that we ought to applaud. We stand by the Lakota people. The way they live does not have the dignity that all human beings deserve. And when you have the opportunity to contact your congressperson or your senator, whether it's on Social Security or whatever your issue is, before you end the conversation, please say something like, please don't forget the housing conditions of our first Americans. Thank you.
Like I said, I only met him a few years ago, and right away we hit it off. As kids, we were migrant workers, you know. He was picking lettuce and we were picking potatoes. So anyway, we'd like to have you view the exhibit. We'd like you to thank you for coming, and we have many partners who come today to support us, and I'd like to invite the representative of Running Strong to come up. They do water projects and other things, little things that add up to the sum total of easing some of the pressures of housing.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Haas-Finkelstein. I'm the Executive Director of Running Strong for American Indian Youth. We're the charity that was founded by Billy Mills. You probably know him more than me. And we've done a lot of work on Pine Ridge for many years, and thanks to people like Pinky and Paul and Mike, the many community partners that make this all possible. I will say, I loved this idea when I heard about it, because often when we come out or we hear from our program partners, you just want them to see, you want America to see with their eyes what they see. And this is a great way for people to see the housing conditions that so many families face. And our nonprofit, we work all about giving kids a chance to dream. Billy Mills lived that dream. And we want every American Indian kid to have a chance to live that dream. And to do that, we try to strengthen them in every way. And a big part of it is a safe, warm place to live. So we're pleased we've been able to support this effort. We've been able to support many efforts, including Pinky's. And we're glad you're here to see with your own eyes everything that's happening. And I hope that the policies, I look at the Capitol, it's very inspiring on a policy level that our congressmen and senators listen to the needs that are so dire today.
I'd like to thank one other person for pulling this all together, Jim Wagenlander and Chris Boson. They're at the back there. You guys owe me because I mentioned your name. No, just kidding. So anyway, I'd like you to look at the exhibit, and we came on a long, long journey, and as Kevin said, I keep forgetting little details. They say when you want something done, you got to go to the woman, and Chris's wife got us all the necessary permits for us to be here in this very attractive location. So I'd like to say thanks to your wife, Chris. I knew it wasn't you, but you know. Yeah, look at the exhibit and encourage your friends to, as it's been said, to contact your congressional folks. You know, we're in town here at a time when we're facing tough issues. You know, gun control, immigration reform, Boston, and now the Capitol. You know, and it just seems that we're always in this real siege state. And hopefully someday we'll be out from under that. So I want to say thank you, and thank you to everyone who contributed. And they're all available for questions if you want to circulate. So thank you very much. Yeah. Group to recognize, it's our crew from the Housing Authority who drove this house out here, and would like a round of applause for Robin Condon, Archie Red Owl, John Briggs, Jim Ironcloud, Virgil Randall, and Christy Bluebird, and from the Oglala Lakota College, Dave Herman. They're the ones that brought this here and traveled all these treacherous roads to bring it here. So thank you guys. Thank you very much.